What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Brotanical Garden, episode 26.
It's time
For some stories.
Hope you guys enjoy them. Please like and follow.
Coming up in this week's episode.
But I was terrified that entire time, because I'd never done that. I came home and my roommate and her boyfriend were outside, bloody.
Well, I don't even know why I brought it up. That's so sad and stupid, and I don't have any context or more details than what I've said. So we're just gonna.
The fact that it's an old guy with one leg on a scooter going really fast.
Do you ever just feel dirty? Like, not dirty,
Yes.
but like, you just out of nowhere,
Gross.
you end up realizing like, oh, I need to wash my hands. Like, it's like gross.
Yeah.
So you
I
just
felt
gotta go
gross
and do
this
it.
Morning, so I showered.
Yeah, like the other day, I was eating with someone at a restaurant, and I was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna go wash my hands." They're like, "Whoa, why?" I was like, washing them before I eat. I don't know." He's like, "You've never really been about that, have you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wash my hands like every time after I eat or before I eat." And he's like,
You
"Okay."
just put them in their face. Be like, smell them.
I was like, "Yeah, if you could feel what I'm feeling right now, you would wash them too. Maybe. I don't know."
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, what you been up to?
Hey, nothing much. I do have a story for you.
You have a story for me?
Yeah,
This would be so nice because I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, it's been forever, and you haven't even heard the story because I've refused to tell you until this exact moment.
Oh, I'm excited. Is this from...
Yeah, this is from the other day.
Okay.
So Friday I went to the movies. And to give some context, this is the movie that we both thought was only going to be showed on Friday, only.
One day.
I was under that impression that it was only going to be out one day. Even more context, this was an anime movie. So
Yep.
it's one of the most popular ones in the world. And so I was like, I want to see this movie if it's only in theaters one day. And so I started looking up the times, and it said like the English version was at 4:15 and the Japanese version was at 7. So I initially planned to go to the 7 o'clock one. And then I was like, oh, I want to watch it in English. Why would I want to just read subtitles? And so I was going to try to go at 4:15. So at work, I usually get off at 4 to 4:15. And so all throughout the day, I've been trying to get ahead so I could,
Leave so you can
get
watch
off a
the
little
movie.
bit early. Yeah, so I could get there.
Yeah.
And it was like at 3:30, 3:40, I get a call from a coworker, and he's like, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
here
that's
we
tough.
go."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, can you ship this out for me? It has I need it by Monday, and if you ship it today, it should be able to get to me." I was like, "Okay."
Like, no big deal.
So-
You could probably get that done in 30 minutes, maybe. I don't know.
I was visibly. Oh shit! Now that I think about that, I never even shipped it. It's still in the back of my truck. Shit. I was supposed to do that yesterday. I
Well,
completely forgot. Oh god. Well,
tomorrow's a new week. Just worry about it then.
sorry, Brian.
It's the Browns
But
of the
anyway,
world.
so I was visibly or audibly
Yeah.
annoyed with him on the phone. So I had to drive to our other facility, get the contents for the package, drive back 10 minutes, package it up, and then UPS had already picked up for the day. Like, they pick up every day at the same time.
Yeah.
And by this point, it's like 4 o'clock. And so I drive to the UPS facility to drop off the package, and it said they closed for good. Like, this UPS distribution facility closed.
Just shut
And I
down.
was like, yeah, and it was just right down the road, and I had no idea. And so then I'm like, just fuck, okay. So I'm just gonna go to the movie and I'll ship it out tomorrow. So I call my guy and I'm like, hey, it's probably gonna ship out tomorrow, but it still should make it to you by Monday. I'll just next day air ship it. We're good. And so he's like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, well, now I did all this and I'm just gonna be late for this movie.
Yeah.
And you know how like at the movie theater you usually give yourself like 15 minutes of like preview buffer? Yeah, so the time was 4:15 was what it said on the website.
So you were thinking like 4:30, you're probably okay.
Yeah, if I'm like sliding in at 4:30, I'll probably be good to go. And so I'm pulling in on two wheels at like 4:25. And in front of me, like, okay, probably like 30 yards, 50 yards in front of me is this group of probably teenagers. They're probably, 18 to 20, 21 age.
Yeah.
And they are the stereotypical anime nerds that we've spoke about before. Like one of them's in fucking pajama pants. One has purple hair.
Yeah.
It's that group.
Mm-hmm. They were very excited for this movie, I'm sure.
I hope.
I'm actually sorry. I'm surprised they weren't going to the 7:00 showing. I thought they would be so much into it that they would have wanted to hear it, Anyway, continue.
Yeah, like, so they have anime attire on. Yeah. So I was like, oh, they're going to see the movie too. And so I walk in, and by the time I walk in, they're like already buying their tickets, but there's only 2 people working the register. And I'm like, oh my gosh, come on. And there's like 5 or 6, there's like 6 of them. And I was like, come on, guys, let's speed it up. Let's speed it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm standing there in line waiting them to buy their tickets. And then this family comes in through the door, and there's like 4 or 5 of them. And they walk into a different line that I was in. Well, it turns out I'm in the exit line, standing behind this group of kids. And I look to my left, and that's the line to like get to the counter.
Yeah.
And I'm just staring at, and like this whole process is going through my head of, do I act like I'm with them to like get to like cut off the people that are in, like technically they're in line. I'm in the do not enter line. There's a giant sign right next to me that says do not enter. I'm still in my work clothes, so I look completely, I don't look like I'm ready to see a movie. I'm in a collared shirt. Yeah. Like a fucking rain jacket and jeans. Nobody else in there is in jeans.
Yeah.
So I already felt out of place, like just awkward. And so they're going in front of me, and I keep checking my phone, like checking the time. And I was like, shit, it's 4:30, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I made the executive decision. I was like, I'm going to have to get back in line. And by this point, another 3 people have gotten in line. And like, I'm just standing there just awkwardly, like, fuck, what do I do? So I made the executive decision. I'm just going to walk into the theater. Like, just not pay for a ticket and just walk in.
Welcome to the Brotanical Garden. To ensure nourishment to the saplings, make sure you spread your seed.
Act like you're meant to be there, type of thing. Just like
and that's what I did. I just walked confidently, and I walked through past the ticket tear guy, but there's no person there. There was just 2 employees were standing there, and I walked right by them. One was holding like a broom, and the other one was just like the girl was talking to him. And I walked right by him. And like there's like 10 theaters or whatever, and there's the little signs above it, and it has like shows what movie is playing in that auditorium.
Yeah.
It just said Theater 1, Theater 2, Theater 3. So I'm like, fuck, which theater is this movie in? And so then I start going through like, okay, if it's a smaller movie, like this is not that popular, there's only 3 showings today, it's got to be in one of the smaller theaters. And so I walk like to 7, 8, 9, and I'm just outside in the hall like listening. I was like, okay, no noise coming from these theaters. So I'm pulling doors and like peeking in to see if there's even a movie on. And some of them were just dead silent.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking in the hallway, and an employee's walking like, in front of me, coming towards me. Mm-hmm. So I dip into the bathroom. And then I go in there and like I act like I'm on my phone or whatever.
Yeah.
I wash my hands and then I walk out.
Yeah.
And then in front of me, I see the group of teenagers. And they walk into like Theater 5 or something. I'm like,
You're
okay.
Like, hell yeah.
I was like, I'm in there. I know which one it is. But at this point, the movie should already be going.
Right.
So I'm listening for anime movie sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going, and like, but also the same movie that they walked into, an old guy walked in.
Oh, so you were like,
that was leaving the bathroom as I was walking in. So I was like, oh God, is this the right movie? And so I'm walking around, and I'm checking doors still, and it's just like a bunch of previews in all these theaters. And I'm like, shit. And like at this point, my heart's racing. I'm like, they're gonna find me out. They're gonna, like I'm screwed. I'm gonna get kicked out of the fucking movie theater, of all places. And then eventually, I just walk in to one of the theaters and I sit down. I sat down in a random row by myself. These kids probably thought I was stalking them and following them.
Yeah.
And I sit down and I was like, okay, movie theaters, previews is over. On the screen pops up Ant-Man and the Wasp. I was like, shit, I'm in the wrong theater. So I had to, I thought, I was like, and even before that, I went and got Chick-fil-A. And I had Chick-fil-A in my pocket. I had 12 nuggets and some fries in each of my rain jacket pockets. So I'm also worried about that.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I was like, okay, do I watch this 2.5 hour movie or do I just go home?
Yeah.
And before the movie really started, I got up and walked down the stairs and then I acted like I was on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hello? I was like, no, it should have shipped out today. And then I walk out of the theater just on the phone and I left.
Yeah.
But I was terrified that entire time. Because I'd never done that. I never walked into, I couldn't figure out where the fucking movie was being played.
Yeah, we're good people, Clay. We get scared about those sorts of things.
My heart was racing, dude. And all they were going to say is you didn't pay for your movie, get out.
Yeah. And I think by the time you get in there,
I felt like an idiot.
By the time you get in there, though, I feel like there's not really much they can they can kick you out, but you really can't prove to them or not if if say you lose your ticket, you know what I mean? It's
see, yeah, well, I guess I accidentally threw it away with my receipt. Darn.
Yeah. But anyway, so are we sure that the movie that you were looking for was actually playing at that theater?
It allegedly, I mean, I saw it on the screen. It had all the movies with all the show times.
And it was
on there for 4:15. Ant-Man and the Wasp was on there for 4:20. So I went to that movie theater.
I wonder, is it one of those movie theaters where it has two sides, where there's on one side there's a hallway with theaters, and then on the other side there's a hallway with theaters?
Yeah, it was just one long hallway.
Oh. But
you walk down a straight hallway and then you can go left or right.
Yeah.
And so I checked pretty much all the theaters, or each auditorium.
That's wild.
Couldn't find. Yeah.
Well?
Yeah, so I felt like an idiot and I was like, I'll just come back later at the 7 o'clock showing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what if they recognize me? I was like, this is so stupid. And I haven't been back since.
I wonder.
So I'm not going to see the movie.
I wonder if we could, I don't know. We're sure it was only out this weekend?
No, it's out for a week at least. I went into my truck as I'm sitting there. I was like, oh, what the? It's showing the entire week.
Okay.
And then I did more research about what the actual movie is, and it's replaying episodes that have been out for a year. But so I don't even think it's worth. I'm just gonna wait for it to drop naturally.
I wonder if it's just literally a replay of the episodes, or if it's
Yeah.
Really?
It is. It's an hour and 50 showtime, and the first 50 minutes is a replay of the last 2 episodes of the previous season. And then an hour is the new season.
Okay, so maybe I feel like it's always great to get a little bit of a catch me up. Okay, where did we end up? But 50 minutes of just something that they've already came out with seems like a little much, don't you think?
But it's badass.
I know.
Super high quality animation.
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
The peak, the climax, and then I'm a smooth transition from the ending of season 2 to the beginning of season 3 would be.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool, and it'd be on the big screen. I've never watched anime in a theater.
That's true, and I bet it would be really cool to watch it on a big screen like that.
Yeah, so I felt awkward because I'm 26 years old, sneaking into the movies by myself.
Yeah.
So I felt like an idiot.
Another thing too, I bet they would never expect somebody your age to do it. So that's why they were just so oblivious to you, you know.
No one said a word to me the
Yeah.
entire time I was in there. Like, I was in line and just turned around and walked in.
And it's
So, I mean, I'm sure they're so short-staffed that they probably wouldn't even care.
yeah, a lot of the times it's like high schoolers like picking up a part-time job to work at the movies, you know. So
Yeah, that's who was at the cash register.
they probably didn't even, but still, it's still one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here, you know.
Yeah, like, ooh, naughty. So yeah, that was the beginning of my weekend, and then yesterday I was gonna go to the movies again, and I was like, I just don't feel like going back and like spending 2 hours in a movie theater. So
Well,
I heard you were playing like the best round of your life the other day, or like you've been on point with some golf lately.
yes, I think okay. So obviously, I play on the simulator a lot, and I think that I'm coming down to the conclusion that sometimes playing in the simulator is not helpful with like scoring well. It may be helpful with like looking at your mechanics of your swing and stuff like that. But
Right.
when there's so much data presented in front of you after you swing, you get really critical about what things you need to change and fix. Whereas when you're outside, really for me, when I'm outside, all I'm thinking about is like scoring good, like
Right.
playing. Whereas when I'm inside, all I'm thinking about is like, ooh, my swing path was a little off there. I need to fix that next time, and all these stupid things. So
Well, here's a question that I thought of
yeah,
while you were talking about simulator versus real golf.
mm-hmm.
How's the translation? Because like simulators are like turf,
Right.
and then like obviously real golf is grass. So like does that translation like take a second, like the first couple swings to dial in?
Oh yeah, it's very very different. It's like I would say too. I think the only thing that the simulator helps you with is confidence and like tee shots. So like when you're on a tee box outside, normally it's perfectly flat and the grass is like finely trimmed, and it kind of simulates like a turf mat. Whereas like when you go out there, you could be like your ball could be on the back of a hill or something like that.
Right.
And it's like, as somebody who plays on the simulator, I'm not trained for that sort of shot. So that's when it gets really tough. But like, yeah, I don't know. When I go outside and I play, it is a lot different. So yesterday I played really well. For me, outside I played with a couple random people. I guess a somewhat funny story. I missed my tee time. I was supposed to play with a buddy and his friend yesterday, and I thought it was a different time than it was. And so I ended up just saying, like, screw it. You guys just go without me. I'm going to ruin your fun because I'm going to be, like, 20 minutes late. So I decided I was just going to try to book a tee time somewhere random by myself and just see how it worked out. And it did. It was fun. The people I was with were really cool. And I definitely struggled in the front nine where I was like, this is not a simulator. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But then you kind of pick it up. You kind of pick up what you're supposed to do. And I ended off pretty good. So, I don't know. It's such a mental game. If you can...
Oh, for sure.
If you have absolutely no idea what you're doing and you go up fully confident that you're going to hit a good shot, there's a significantly higher shot than if you know exactly what you're supposed to do, but you have zero confidence. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Someone like with your golfing level, because obviously you're new to it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I've never hit a ball off of grass. Like that new.
Yeah. If you were to go up and for whatever reason be super confident about hitting it onto the green, and then someone like me who's been playing like every day for a year went up and knew exactly what I had to do to get it on the green, but was like, oh, I'm going to fuck this up. This is so bad. There's like an equal chance that both of us are going to be putting it on the green. It's crazy.
So would it be frowned upon if I brought like a little square of turf and just put the ball on top of the turf every time I hit it?
Bro, you don't even want to though. I will tell you one thing that's really
I'd get yelled at.
one thing I bet no one would care, to be honest. But I don't think you'd want to. So it's one thing, the benefit of being outside is when you go through the ball, you can take the grass with your club. And so it gives you a little more margin for error. Like if I hit a turf mat and I hit the ground before the ball, it's going to be awful. But if you hit the ground before the ball on accident outside, if the ground is soft enough, it sometimes can give you a little bit of leeway. So
yeah, that's like when they swing and like that big chunk of grass flies in the air, like that divot.
Yeah, so what you're supposed to do, ideally, you're supposed to hit ball and then the ground. So your divot is always supposed to be in front of where your ball was. That's how you know you're there's something called like angle of attack, and that it's pretty straightforward. It's like you either hit up on the ball or down on the ball, and then there's an angle that you're supposed to be at for each club. So like the only clubs really you're supposed to be hitting up on the ball with are when you like teeing up a ball. That's why the tee is there. It gives you a little room to hit up on the ball. But for all the wedges, I think a lot of people that have never played or are new to playing have this idea that then you like scoop it off the ground. But really,
lift it.
Yeah. And that's why you see them arching their backs and like on their back foot through their swing. But in reality, you're actually supposed to compress the ball in between the club head and the ground. And that compression is what gives you spin and launch, which is really, it's interesting because it's not, you don't really think about that. But that's actually
no, I don't.
It's actually how you're supposed to. But anyway, yeah, I cannot wait for this season when it gets warmer for you to get out there, and all of your. I guarantee there's some of the driving ranges near you that have grass that you can hit off of.
Yeah, there is. I've been a few times like in the last month, and they just have the turf mats out and they have the signs that says please keep off the grass because it's all dead. Yeah. And it's like they're trying to like grow it and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's
we got Kevin talking about golf, everyone.
I know.
Woo!
Like today, since I didn't go to the simulator and I wasn't worried about my swing and how it looked and stuff like that. Today when I showed up to like the par 3 course or whatever, wasn't thinking about my swing. I was just hitting the ball. And I was doing better than I ever have. Like I was getting par, and then I was telling you on the phone a little bit, but like as soon as I started thinking about things and trying to change things, it's when it all went down.
Yeah.
So when it all went downhill. So
it's a mental game for sure.
It is.
Clear that head.
And my head has a lot going on up there all the time.
There.
Yeah, I can really
get in that head real deep.
Yeah. Well, I think let's just try to base this podcast. Maybe we should address really quick that we've been gone for 3 weeks or 2 weeks. No. You don't want to talk about it?
No.
Yeah. Well,
no, I don't.
You know, we had a fun live podcast.
Don't even try to justify it.
You're right.
Don't even try to justify it.
I literally just tried to do that, and you're right. Let's just move on with a couple stories.
Yeah, it's story time. Story time. So I have story 1, 2, or 3. You're picking. Choosing.
Here's what I want you to do. Name the story with one word each, and then I'm gonna pick. Give it a summary in one word.
In one word?
One word summary for each story.
Crazy, stupid, sad. Crazy, stupid, sad.
Crazy.
It has to be said like that.
Okay. Crazy, stupid, sad. Okay.
Sad? Question mark.
Okay. Let's go with crazy. Let's go with crazy.
Crazy. Okay.
What you got for me?
So, this is a crazy dog attack story that I was a part of.
Okay.
So this was a few years ago. I lived with 2 girls. Fun fact.
Whew.
I lived with 2 girls. Their name were Kelly and Kelly.
Okay.
So both of them, it was named Kelly. And I called one of them Kelly and I called the other one KJ, which was like her initials.
Yeah.
So that's the way I distinguished between them. No, nothing ever happened, and no, never romantically involved. I had a girlfriend at the time, and they had boyfriends, throughout the time I lived there with like 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyways, I was working at a job, and I got off work at like 8 o'clock, and I came home, and my roommate and her boyfriend were outside bloody,
What?
asking me to take them to the hospital.
Holy crap.
So that is where I got involved in the story. But if you like to get to that point, little flashback, Kelly had a dog named Beamer. Beamer was a beagle from Germany.
Oh, God.
So,
those beagles can be
he
feisty. I'm not even going to lie.
right. So he wasn't an American beagle. So he was thick and he was big. He was like probably twice the size of like a beagle that you've seen, like, that if your friend had one here in the States.
Was he, sorry, I have to mean to cut you off. Was he enlisted back in the day?
No, he did already have to serve for his war dog crimes.
Okay.
So yeah, he was like maybe like he was like probably 8 to 10 years old,
Okay.
maybe a little bit older. But this dog was not a dog. He was an old man in a dog's body. Like all he would do was like sleep, and like if you tried to like pet him, he would growl sometimes. I didn't fuck with the dog. I was not a fan of the dog.
Yeah.
He wasn't like very dog-like. And so, I mean, we got along, I guess, to some degree, but he was just a dog in the house. And we,
His name was
hung out.
His name was Beaver?
Beamer,
Beamer, not Beaver. Okay.
no, not Beaver. No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, anyways, Kelly was the owner of the dog. Was out of town. Was at her hometown, which is like an hour and a half away. So instead of like hauling him there, because she was only going to be there for one night, I think she had a wedding or something to attend. KJ, her roommate, best friend for like years, was going to take care of the dog. And she's been living with this dog for like years, like 3 years at least. And her boyfriend they'd been dating like 6 months or something. He's a super cool dude, black belt in karate, the usual. And so,
Okay.
super jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he is hanging out at the house alone by himself with the dog. And he's like doing homework on his laptop, and the dog's like laying on the bed. Well, KJ gets home like probably 30 minutes before I did, maybe 15. And walks in and is like, all right, Beamer, get off the bed. Like, your time is done on the bed. You're just in the way, and I think I think they were leaving or something. I can't remember why she needed the dog off. So she grabs Beamer by the collar on the back, like on the back of his head, and like tries to like, urge him off the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of like, be like, giddy up, get off the bed.
Yeah.
And he just turns and like latches on her wrist.
Oh my God.
And, just bites and like wouldn't let go. And so she starts screaming. Her boyfriend's like sitting on the bed, and like the dog's at his feet.
Yeah.
So he stands up and tries to like grab the dog. So Beamer releases her arm and grabs him by the nose, latches onto his nose, and is like,
oh no.
and so he's like he's like seated position like this, and he's like, leaned out, and the dog grabs his nose, and he's trying to like give with the dog because he doesn't want his nose ripped off.
Yeah.
Black belt in the karate, by the way. Couldn't just couldn't give a quick.
Sometimes you gotta have the heart to. Sometimes I'm telling you.
I know, right?
See, I wouldn't have the heart to,
Anyways.
but a smarter man would. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. I guess he was really risking the nose.
Yep.
But anyways, he's like getting drug off, and eventually the dog like releases, and he jumps off the bed and then just runs away.
Oh my
like
God.
runs into the other room. And so now like her hand is like all cut up. Her wrist is all like has like a gash in it. His nose, like at the top, the bridge of his nose is bleeding. Like down the side was cut up. And this is the point where I get home.
Like,
so they're trying to freak. Yeah, I'm getting off work. I'm like, finally, I can crack a beer and relax. And I pull into the drive. They were trying to figure out what to do, like how to get to the hospital or whatever for like stitches,
yeah,
like tetanus potentially.
Yeah.
He didn't have rabies, thank God.
Yeah.
He was just living with a rabid dog. So I pull in and they're standing outside with like paper towel or like towels and like shit all over their like like their body parts. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? And like, hey, I know you just got this truck. Like, can you take us to the hospital?
Oh my. Yeah.
It's like, we can lay down a couple towels so we don't get blood in your car. Like, shut up. It's leather. Get in. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
let's go.
Yeah, I'll take you to the hospital. And it was like 15 minutes away, and that's when they told me, like the story of like how that happened. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like I was like, show me your arm, and there's like just like a gash in her wrist, like probably in the middle of her forearm. And so I take him to the hospital. They end up getting stitches. They were there for like 4 hours, and they didn't get home till like 2 a.m. I was like, is the dog at least like in his kennel back at home? Because I don't want to like walk in and it's just like Cocaine Bear or whatever. It's just like, he's like a shark. He's tasted blood and wants to just ravage on some more. And so I walk in and there's like blood all over the floor, just like a trail back to her room.
Oh my God.
He's in the kennel. He's just like sitting there looking at me, and I was like, you're an asshole. So I cleaned up all the blood and yeah, so that was that. The dog had to be moved back home, and I haven't seen him since.
Dude, that's crazy. That is crazy. That was your subject.
That is. Yeah.
There was one time. Do you know if not? I'm gonna actually. I've already decided, so don't try to change my mind. I think I'm gonna name the podcast Nazi Beaver. So
Nazi Beaver. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, there was
that one may get flagged for the N word.
Did Beamer have to get put down or just sent to the parents' house?
No, just sent to the parents' house. She was like, I mean, it was so wild that even happened because like she had lived with that dog for like so long. She was like, I'm not gonna press charges or anything like that. And make them put down the dog. It like hurt her feelings because like she thought she had a bond with this dog. Mm-hmm. You know, best friend's dog that you've been living with. You would think that they would be like cool on some terms.
Right. Yeah. There was
Yeah, I guess just caught him on a bad day.
When I was like probably 8 years old, we had a neighbor who had a big, I don't actually know the type of the dog, but it was a big, white, long-haired, it's like maybe it's Shiba Inu. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, Shiba.
Is it like a bigger, like wider bodied dog?
I can't think. I mean, I don't. Shiba Inu. Yeah, you're right.
Is that it?
Yeah, they got the little curly, fluffy tails and the pointy ears. Yeah, Shibas are cute.
Oh, that's definitely not what I was talking about.
They're so cute.
Those are cute. Is that is a Shiba Inu a Doge dog?
Yeah, that is the Doge dog.
Let's see if I can figure out the name of the dog. Long-haired bear dog. It did kind of look like a bear.
Looks like a bear? Maybe like
what's this?
Mastiff? Mastiffs are huge, though.
Kind of looked like...
Mastiff is like the Sandlot dog. But he was fluffy?
Yeah, he had super long hair.
Saint Bernard, maybe? Like, how big is this dog?
It did.
How big we talking?
Honestly, it probably was only about as tall as like Theo and Penelope were, but it was like double the width.
Okay, so like just
it was a thick
golden retriever's like labradoodle size, but just
chunky. It kind of looked like a mastiff with like the length of the hair. Anyway, doesn't really matter. So my sister was, I don't know, 6 at the time, and we had gone over to the backyard of our neighbors because I was a kid and played with the other kid who lived there. And my sister joined me that day, and I had never had any issues with this dog. I think the dog was old too, but so that dog, I don't know what Alicia did or what. But the dog like walked up to Alicia, and then because she's like 6, but then got up on his back 2 legs, and then like put his front 2 paws on her shoulders, and then like pushed her down, so like he was just like on top of the dog. And we were like terrified because we were like, oh my God, Alicia's dead. Like it's over.
She's gonna get eaten.
And it wasn't like a really good tempered dog. Like we kind of like, it was a dog that would bark, and you would like, I was okay because I had been around their house, but Alicia had not been.
So you just kind of like ignored.
Yeah. And so I think it bit Alicia's like ear or something. It wasn't that bad, but anyway, I think they ended up putting that dog down, which is really sad.
Because of that?
Because of that, yeah. And my parents like
was he playing, or was he like?
It might have actually been. Now that I think about it, it might have been a little more severe than what I'm saying, if they put it down.
Yeah, I mean, she still has her ear.
Yeah,
right?
She still has her ear.
But like in that position, she could have been mauled.
Yeah.
Horribly. So like it makes me think like he was kind of like playing almost, and like jumped on her, and like he's just bigger and pushed her down and like nipped at her ear.
Yeah.
Like she could have lost an arm. She could have died.
That's true. You know what? Yeah. I don't even know why I brought it up. That's so sad and stupid, and I don't have any context or more details than what I've said. So we're just gonna
So
it's gonna move on.
So your sister got a dog put down. That's
So thanks a lot, Alicia.
That's horrible.
Moving on.
Thanks, Alicia. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
She probably just like saw some chocolate hanging out the starfish and flicked it, and then that pissed him off, and that was it.
That pissed him off, or maybe she had
either that, or she's like, "You're a stupid dog," and he said, "Don't say that," and like,
yep. Maybe she had.
I don't know.
Maybe she had some bats in the cave, and he just was hungry. Lick that shit down.
Yeah, she stuck her tongue out at him. That was it.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of the viewers don't know yet, but so Rachel,
you have a sister.
Rachel,
surprise,
no longer lives here. You know?
Yeah, that's true. They don't.
I'm just holding that out on like a cliffhanger. It's not because anything happened. Well, I mean, things happened, but we're still fine. That's what I wanted to get at. So,
why would you say fine? Fine makes it sound like things aren't fine.
Okay, things are better than ever. Is that better?
Are they though?
Well, it kind of sucks because I can't see her. But
right.
Anyway, so
explain yourself.
So
now. You have to.
Yeah, I will. So, and I think we talked about this before. You just story timed. Oh, I story timed.
You just story time.
Yeah, it's like a half story time. I'm gonna give a half story time, and then
it was a piggyback off of my story time.
Right. That ended up going absolutely nowhere. So Rachel has a job through Otis Elevators, and she, in a couple years' time, wanted to find an opportunity so we could go back to like closer to home, to our parents, grandparents, and like whatever, just so once we start making babies, they'll have family in the picture that's like not halfway across the country. So Rachel was like gossiping amongst the people that work with her, saying like, you know, kind of explaining that and that, like, oh, this isn't my forever home, Omaha. Like, I know I want to move back to Ohio eventually. And so, like, side story, somewhere in Columbus, Ohio, they had a meeting saying like, oh, this person just left. We need a position filled. If there's any, you know, X job, like title, whatever, that you can find that wants to be here. And so I guess through word of mouth, it ended up coming up to Rachel saying like, hey, there's something open, but it's open like now. And so she's like, geez, like that sounds awesome, but it's so soon, and I'll need to talk to my manager about it. And so she did, and her manager basically said, some of my biggest regrets at this company were not traveling and stuff when I had the chance to, because now those chances are gone, and I haven't had a chance to since. So she got recommended. He said, take this job. You won't regret it. And I know that if you stay, then you probably will regret it, later down the road.
Yeah.
So she did it. And so she moved out in like the matter of a month. And now she has a pretty cool gig where her boss said he is A-okay with her working from home for now and just coming in once or twice a week. So she's living at her parents' house to save some money. And then once or twice a week is going up to Columbus, which is like an hour or so drive. And
That's not horrible.
so, yeah. So anyway, I have been, and I'm not going to get too into my plans. I will be returning to Columbus with her. It's not like we're just going to be living apart forever.
Boo.
But I've had, Clay's been having to keep me busy and entertained like the past.
What do you mean having? Like it's my job?
It is your job. Yeah.
Well, if you had to give me 1 out of 5 stars, how's my job performance been?
Sorry, this is
Yeah, so you
suffocating.
keep messing with the hat. What is the hat?
Oh, okay. Let me just. Oh, look at that line.
Yeah, that's a good line.
So anyway,
Because it looked like a fedora.
yeah, it's a bucket hat. There's
A day.
There's a comedy meets golf YouTube channel that has a bunch of a lot of YouTube golfers are really good golfers and stuff like that. They take more of a different spin on YouTube golf where they're all not that good, but they make it really enjoyable to watch because it's like relatable to people that are not professional. So that was some of their.
That's their brand.
That's their merch that they have. One of their sayings is "Let's have a day." It just like means So it's
Let's do well.
Yeah, it's Bob Does Sports, and they do golf videos on YouTube.
Is his name Bob?
You got Bobby Fairways, you got Joey Cold Cuts, and Fat Perez. Those are the 3 people.
Fat Perez is my favorite.
Already. Yeah, he's awesome. So the 3 of them, they have Bobby, who's like kind of the ringleader, but he's not that good. And then Joey Cold Cuts is kind of middle of the line. He's still not as good as a lot of those YouTube golfers. And then Fat Perez is like an absolute unit who's an alcoholic and stuff like that. But he happens to be like a scratch golfer. He's like so good at golf. So
Right.
So a lot of the times when they do YouTube videos, it's Joey and Bobby Boy versus Fat Perez, and they go.
Shout out Bob Does Sports. Give us a shout.
Yeah,
out.
shout out Bob Does Sports. But anyway, yeah, that was the bucket hat. It was just I think I got too small of a size, and now it suffocates my head. But
Yeah, puts a nice line on your forehead.
oh yeah,
That's gonna be here the rest of the time.
That's really something. Anyway, back to you. You had a sad, crazy, and what was the third one?
Stupid.
We knocked out the crazy. You think we get a stupid in and then call it?
I think we got one more.
Yeah. I think we go stupid and then pinch it off. I shouldn't have said that word.
Sad?
Sad? Well, I kind of hit him with a little bit of a sad, like pointless story myself with the dog. You're feeling sad. Let's go sad, and I'll make it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just stick with the sad.
Yeah, let's go sad. I like that.
Well, it's not sad. It's sad.
Sad? Sad?
Question mark? Okay. So here, let me lay down the setting. So
Okay.
this is my sophomore year of college.
Okay.
Ironically, on campus, there was an old folks home. There was like a retirement home.
Wow.
On campus.
Okay.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. So you would see them like sitting out on park benches or whatever, like doing their thing. Like ambulances would drive in, like from time to time. Never saw a coroner.
Yeah.
Or a hearse. So
That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
But there was this one guy. He was, I think it's called paraplegic when he's missing a limb.
Yeah. Partial
Yeah.
nug.
So he was missing probably from like the middle of his thigh down. He was missing his leg, one leg. And I'm pretty sure he had both arms, but it was just a one-legged old guy. And so me and my friend, we were driving back from the cafeteria, which we easily could have walked, but we're driving back, and on one of these little walkways by the old folks home, we see the one-legged guy on his scooter, and he is hauling ass. And like, he's super skinny. It's not like he's a super skinny guy, and he is moving.
He's like,
and we're like point him out because it's like he's hauling ass. Like, he was probably going like 15 miles an hour on this scooter. And we're like, oh shit, like, look at this guy, he's moving. Like, we're cutting up and making, like, not making fun of him, but the fact that it's an old guy with one leg on a scooter going really fast.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's got a turn coming up. Let's see what he does. He turns the corner, falls.
Oh
smacks the
my
pavement.
God.
And so we witnessed the entire thing.
And
like,
now
we're just smiling to immediate, like, oh shit.
Now you're
We
put in
just
a
witnessed
position.
an old guy died.
Yeah, now you're put in a position where you're like an asshole if you don't do anything about it. If like you just like, oh, that's crazy, woo-hoo-hoo, and then you just walk away.
So he like turned and just lost control and
And just
smacked and slid, and we were like, well, shit, that's tough for that guy. So we parked and went up into the apartment and then watched throughout the window. I'm just kidding. So we saw this and we like floor it to like in the parking lot, just slam it in park in the middle of the parking lot, and we both, me and my buddy, run over there to the guy, and he's like gurgling almost.
Oh God.
Like, he's making like just like weird noises, and it's like this is the first time I've ever been around like a life or death situation with someone.
Yeah.
And we're freaking out, and like his arms are all scraped up. He had a cut like on his head. His hat fell off, and he's like balding, and he's just like, just making these weird ass noises.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, what do we do? And I was like, I'm calling 911. You stay here. And so I call 911, and I run to like campus police or whatever was like maybe 100 yards away. Like their building was like pretty close.
Yeah.
And so I full sprint over there as I'm on the phone with 911.
Yeah.
And I just bust in the door, and I was like, this old guy fell. Like, we need to come help us.
Yeah.
And then I'm telling him, like, we're at this university, blah, blah, blah. This old guy just fell off his bike. He's like, didn't seem conscious, like, blah, like this and that. And we run over back to the guy, like to my friend. And I was like, do you think we need to do CPR? And I was like, that's why I brought the school cop. And the cop, like for campus police, is just another student. It's not like,
oh no, yeah.
Like the campus police had a program, if you're a criminal and justice major, you could, train and do some stuff like that on campus. And he's a guy that I had fucking like economics with on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's like, hey man, come help us.
Dude just
like,
busted his ass and he's dying.
And so the guy's on the ground, and then eventually he comes to, he's conscious, but he's just like still like moaning and groaning. He's not talking to us.
Yeah.
He's just like on the ground like, oh.
He's like, oh.
But he's alive.
Yeah, that's great.
And the paramedics get there, and they check him out, and they talk to us. They're like, what happened? And we're like, he was fucking moving down this path.
It took a turn, and
he hit the banana, spun out, and smacked his ass on the ground. Yeah, something. And so we were talking to him, and in his little scooter in the front is a 24-pack of Bud Light. Probably my favorite part of the story. And he's got like an Auburn University hat on, and he's sitting there, he's getting checked out. They're bandaging him up like on his little scrapes. And they come back over to us. I was like, yeah, he's just really drunk. He's just hammered. And they're like, this isn't the first time. So he drives his scooter across the street to the gas station to get beer, because he's not supposed to have beer.
Yeah.
And then he'll drive back. And so he had a 24-pack of Bud Light in his little scooter, and he was drunk. So that's why they said he was like groaning or like seemed unconscious or whatever. He was just drunk.
Oh,
just a drunk old veteran with one leg.
That is crazy.
And the guy seemed to be fine after that. They checked him out, and they escorted him back to his room. But
yeah.
So thought a guy was gonna die, old man was gonna die. Turns out he was just drunk.
Well, dude, like when
Shouldn't have been operating the scooter.
Yeah, he was drinking and driving. When what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, when you get old, when you turn into an old guy, whenever that happens, whatever that age is, I swear your body just breaks so much easier.
Yeah.
Somebody, like some old guy could be walking down the stairs and take too hard of a bottom, like a downward step, and just break his ankle. So the fact that he actually was okay is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
honestly.
no broken bones. He just had he had a huge gash on his head, and just his arm was scraped up.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, but
Well,
no broken bones, and he was just drunk. That's it.
What age would you guess he was?
Oh, at least upper 70s, maybe in the 80s.
Okay.
He was an old dude with one leg.
At that point in life, you could probably just grab your arm and peel off your skin like that. So
Yeah,
I can't believe
his arm was, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it was. Never saw him again either. It'd be probably unlikely if he's still alive.
Probably got on
Reach out and
house
do an interview
arrest.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah, got a scooter taken away from him.
Probably. Well, that's probably not, because how would he, get around?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the scooter was, maybe they dialed it back so it can only go 5 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, he was moving and he hit pretty hard, but I thought I witnessed my first death. Turns out, dude, old guy's just drunk.
Yeah.
So that was my good deed for the year.
Well, I think it was a really good deed. It's a great thing that you went over to him and took care of things, because who knows how long.
Great thing that we saw it.
Yeah, he could have just been on the ground there for 20 minutes before anybody saw him, or longer. You never know.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, because the old people home was kind of tucked away, on campus.
No way he was getting up,
So,
unless he was good at one-legged squats. So
I'm sure he with one leg, he's probably knows how to get up, but lifting that scooter back upright, there's no way he could have done that.
Well,
Imagine we weren't there, and then they somebody else found him, and he's just propped up against it, just drinking his beer that he just got. Dude, the noises he made were pretty scary. They were kind of wild. But that's that story, and now we only have stupid left. But sorry, guys,
it's for next time.
not today.
Yep.
Maybe
not.
Maybe not. I don't know. Check out next week and find out. It's a really stupid story. It's stupid as in what actions took place.
Gotcha.
Stories now it's hilarious, but then
It was
very
stupid. Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, it is that time. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah,
hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
All that stuff. We're trying to grow. So anyway, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and pinch it off.
Pinch her off.
All right, guys. Till next time. Peace out.
See ya.
Peace. I will. All right.
Yeah. Are we done? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Oh, okay, good. I made all of those stories up, by the way.